I got the ultra rare pink van.
Thank you for the boost.
No!
It's very painful. Oh no.
Pink van did not make the checkpoint.
Hey, so we're making a game here at Noclip, not just to get a better understanding of how games are made, but also to figure out a bunch of the stuff that we never get to see, all the behind the scenes things about how games are marketed, how publishing deals are done, basically the business of selling games. It's a throwback driving game called Stunt Derby with multiplayer, track building and high fidelity physics. We're making it with Alex Austin, who made Bridge Builder, Gish and Sub Rosa. It used to look like this, in the last episode it looked like this, and now it looks like this. But we'll get to that later. Soon we're going to be trying to get in funding via either a publisher or early access, but before we do either of those, we need to do perhaps the most important thing for any indie game pre-release. We need to set up our Steam page to drive as many wish lists as possible, and today we're going to talk to two experts about how exactly we do that. In the last video we asked you to wishlist the game, and since then we've received around 1,000 wishlists, highlighting A, the importance in asking for them, and B, the unfair advantage this project has by being associated with a relatively well-known YouTube channel and a well-respected developer. But this whole series is about leveling the playing field, about doing all the research ourselves and sharing it with you. So today we're going to focus on two key aspects of marketing your game: the Steam page and the trailer. These are two areas I have a little bit of experience in, being a video editor and prior to that, a web developer. But I also probably bring a lot of incorrect assumptions and bad habits as to how you should work on these. So to help me out, we're going to talk to two experts: the prolific video game trailer editor Derek Lieu and game designer / marketing expert Chris Zukowski, who runs both free and paid classes on how to market your game on Steam on his website, howtomarketagame.com. So after a little bit of coursework, I jumped on a call with Chris to learn just how badly I'd set up our Steam page.
In my research, people look at a game and whether they like it or not, that's established within 45 seconds. So within that 45 seconds, they're just trying to figure out, like, what do I do in this game? People forget that all the time and they go straight to lore. And one of the best, easiest ways, and we'll talk about this, is to figure out what type of games are kind of what we call tent poles. Like, you know, JRPG, it's like the Final Fantasy games or something. And you kind of give these subtle hints that, hey, we're kind of like this game, so that shoppers in that 45 seconds when they're looking at your page have those subconscious clues. Oh, this is what I'm in for. I like this type of game, or I don't like this type of game.
That's interesting because, yeah, my original methodology, and maybe other people do this, is to try and be a unique unicorn in the world of Steam where there's these thousands of games. But it sounds like what you're suggesting is more that what you kind of want to do is create an association with a sort of known quantity and then differentiate yourself from it. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I was the same way. I thought, I have to stand out. I have to be the strangest, weirdest game that they've never seen before. Most people are just, they like the types of games they like, and so they need to make that judgment because there's so many games, they don't evaluate every game as its own. It's in context of everything else. On Steam, the first thing they're going to see, and the most common thing, is what on Steam is called the capsule. It's kind of that thumbnail image, and it just is like your main character or some sort of character in the title text. That's basically it. That's their first thing. They're going to see more of that than anything else you do. If they're interested, they click that, and then they go to your Steam page. Now, video games are a visual medium, so the first thing they're going to look at are mainly screenshots. They're going to kind of click through and look at those screenshots. And this is where they kind of establish that genre, kind of say like, oh yeah, this looks like the point of view, the camera perspective of this type of game. And then if they're kind of interested, they think, oh, art is intriguing to me, they're gonna flip over to the right, and there's a little bit of text called the short description. And that kind of sets the stakes of this is what you do in the game. Because game mechanics can't be really shown in screenshots as much, it's a little bit harder. And this is where I say, you have to tell them what you do. This is a great spot to do that. Now, you'll notice I didn't say trailer. The trailer kind of comes a little bit later, and that's mainly because trailers can be a little bit of a slow roll. They can kind of take a little while to kind of establish themselves. So shoppers are used to that, and so they usually look at the screenshots because you can flip through a screenshot much faster than you can, a trailer. So if they've looked at the screenshots, read the short description, they're still intrigued, they might go over to the trailer, and what they do is they kind of scrub through the timeline to kind of look for those action points.
This is literally what I do. This is the same thing
Yeah.
I do. You're like explaining what I do I never thought about it, but that's totally the way I do it, yeah. While Chris seems to downplay the importance of the trailer on our Steam page, I know we're still going to need one to show prospective publishers and to promote the game on social media. This is where Derek Lieu comes in. Derek is responsible for creating dozens of game trailers for games like Among Us, Subnautica, Spelunky 2, Firewatch, Shovel Knight, The Long Dark, and even Half-Life Alyx. So before I jump into the edit, I checked in with him to learn the do's and don'ts of editing a video game trailer.
The most broad advice that I always give people is first establish the genre.
Okay.
And that could take a shot, literally a shot. You know, if it's a fighting game, you see two people, they're fairly large, there's power bars, you know it's a fighting game. So after you establish the genre, then you need to establish the hook, which is, what is different about this? And that's basically most of the trailer, I think. The other mistake a lot of game trailers make is they start with the content, like the game modes and how many boss levels there are and how many weapons there are and that sort of thing. And it's like, why do I care about any of this? The thing that is most important is the hook, and then also the emotional experience of playing the game. That's something that can be conveyed through editing and music. It's not something that is a listable thing.
Right.
A deep experience.
It's fun.
It's so heartfelt. It's okay, put up or shut up. Okay. But yeah, so I'm looking at your game, and as I was watching you all play it, in the footage, I noticed you're laughing a lot, and the cars are kind of janky because it's the physics. So what is the experience that you get from playing this game that you enjoy about this particular versus some other game? It's what are you getting out of this that you aren't from another thing? So is it because it's super funny? Are there close calls? Is it a push-pull thing like Mario Kart? You got to try to figure out that and put that into visuals and, film it basically. Yeah, and you want to show at least a couple complete game loops too, because a lot of games, they start off with the beginning of the race. You have a perfect example. It's okay, we see a whole bunch of racing, but you never see a finish line. Maybe you see a little bit of the middle, but it's oh, but does this ever end? What's the point of this race? So you need to have that complete story arc, or a few of them before the penultimate one or the ultimate one at the end, where it's oh my God, did they make it, or something like that. And really, by showing a complete loop or cause and effect, then it gives you a better picture for how the game itself is.
It appears that how your game looks doesn't just communicate the aesthetic of the game, but also the genre, gameplay, and as we're about to learn, the quality of the game too. This is something Chris made sure to bring up when he gingerly touched upon a particular challenge that our game, and its lo-fi aesthetic, is probably going to run into.
Steam shoppers are very judgmental, and they've been burned by, pejoratively, it's called an asset flip game. And I'm not saying anything you're doing is an asset flip game, but they are eagle-eyed, these shoppers. And so you need to do everything that you can in your power to show that you're not just some scammer that's out there to flip assets and throw something out there with no effort. And a couple quick things that I always tell people is never repeat screenshots. So if there's two screenshots that are similar, similar terrain, similar angle, similar main character, even the UI, if you took all your screenshots at the same time and your UI always has five hearts of damage or something, like that, you can see it. It's subconscious. People see, oh, the UI hasn't changed in all these screenshots. It subconsciously tell people, oh, they just spent 10 minutes collecting these screenshots. The other thing is a capsule, and the capsule is your thumbnail. I highly, highly recommend going with a professional illustrator to create a capsule, because even though a shopper might not know why, when they see a high quality one that's illustrated, that subconsciously tells them somebody's invested in this game. They've paid money for somebody, they've hired a professional. So those sort of things just kind of elevate the game. And that's the main thing that separates you versus an asset flipper. It's that care and that TLC. So I highly recommend just kind of differentiating your screenshots, potentially hiring a capsule artist to make your capsule. All those things go just a little bit further to kind of show that quality.
Okay, we've got a lot to do, so how about we start with the Steam page.
First of all, we need to make our capsule more interesting. This means getting some professional key art made. I put the call out on Twitter, and wouldn't you know it, friend of Noclip and ex-Giant Bomb designer Dan R was interested in helping.
So we hired Dan to make key art, or box art, that was reminiscent of those old 80s games. Games like Top Gun and Blades of Steel, where the graphics look nothing like the gameplay, but are kind of evocative of what you're meant to be doing in those games.
This should help communicate the era that we're trying to crib off and the feeling of playing the game. While Dan worked on that, I'd update the information on the Steam page and get new screenshots done, but this created a problem. The game looks different week after week, so getting images that are reflective of how it's going to look in the future may be tricky. And this is even more of a problem when it comes to capturing gameplay for the trailer. Alex drove from Santa Cruz, where he lives, to our studio in Marin for a few days to work on a bunch of aesthetic changes to the game. And this is where stuff really got interesting. He added in the simple stuff I needed, like the ability to change where the sun was, the ability to edit a hex value on the grass to make changing the look of the levels easier. But then Alex being Alex, he created a powerful tool that would add a whole new dimension to the way we capture gameplay. In fact, he came up with two things: a replay system and the ability to add physics objects for the cars to crash into.
What is that? What was that? What did you do? What did you do? Oh my god! No, really? Oh, that's awesome. I thought it was like one big cube. No. Oh my god. Hey Alex, how many boxes can you put in this video game?
Right now, a few hundred.
Okay.
But and then I got the replays. So the replays, it doesn't save them yet, but
Okay.
I can go. You can track the car, zoom in.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, you're kidding me. We can have focal length? That's
Yeah.
that's like absolute game changer for like shooting the trailer. So is this record so this is recording the
there we go.
the like date, the state, the game state or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, it tracks it as well. Dude, is this stuff from Sub Rosa that you had like
Yeah.
oh my god, because it's so slick. I was like, you made this in a week?
Yeah, a lot of the
this
stuff,
is
like
so
I said,
cool.
it's kind of like a cooking show. It's like I've prepared this ahead of time.
Right.
All right, so when I first put the boxes in, I drove a car into it, and like the car basically like stopped, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I look at it, I look at the mass of the box, and it was like 8 kilograms. The car's like 800 kilograms. It's like, shouldn't be doing this. And then I realized that like I hadn't put the weights into the calculations for collisions. So like this whole
Right.
time the van and the cars basically been like colliding as if they're the same weight.
Okay.
So like the van's been kind of nerfed more than it should be.
You gonna tell people about the van thing or?
No, yeah, I want to do in the next test, see if people notice that like the van's more powerful than
It's OP now.
yeah. 36 times 6 boxes.
36 times 6. 36 times 6.
Can't do that, man.
3. 36 times 6.
216.
Sure. 216. Look at these. Oh. Okay, I need speed. Do you think I'm going to make it through? Do you think it's going to stop me?
It won't stop you,
Won't stop?
but it will definitely slow you down a lot.
Will it crash your laptop? Are we going to hit single digits frames here?
The funny thing is like once you hit them, it's actually doing less physics because right now it's doing all the physics, like
Really?
stacked box physics.
All right, here we go. Ah!
Pretty good.
Let me go again. Like a big foam pit, like the Twitch foam pit. Whoa! Awesome.
Okay, check this
That's a lot
out.
of fun.
Let's save the replay.
Okay. Here it goes. Yeah! so sad. Oh, I like seeing all the ones. Oh, they all toppled on their own, did they? They all like fell over afterwards.
Yeah, there's
That's awesome.
part of the collisions aren't in. You can see they jiggle a little bit because there's not edge to edge collisions.
Right.
Once those are in, like they probably will stay up. So you can hold F to like fast forward.
Oh, yeah.
Until you're back.
Okay, oh, here it's coming.
Yeah.
They're all jigging a little bit here.
So this was really
Here we go. Oh,
Nice. Right, let's go. Let's do it like this. Let's go. Oh, you know what? I want to just go like super, like that shit. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Oh, it looks like it looks like orthographic or something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like an
Yeah, because that's kind of orthographic is basically just like a super zoomed in so far.
Yeah.
There's no more perspective.
Exactly. Yeah, it just flattens everything. Look at this shit. Oh, this looks cool. Alright, send it around fast. I guess if we could zoom in a little bit more, that'd be cool.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Into the Twitch foam pit.
Alex did add that more zoomed in camera. New updates included a bunch of track fixes, a new rear-wheel drive hatchback, and the game now runs on Steam Deck's default settings, though we're not quite sure what fixed that. Through our weekly patron-exclusive playtests, we also figured out a bunch of quality of life things like flags and a leaderboard on the screen in team mode so opposing teams know who to target. And thanks to the track editor, we've also playtested bunches of community-created tracks and learned a lot about what works in level design. Shout out to Reagan for making dozens of these. Just like the track editor that we use to make our own levels, the replay mode is also now available for players, meaning that they can save the data of any race and replay it back using a bunch of controls, including camera tracking, swapping vehicles, and of course, slow motion. This status should also still work as Alex makes graphical changes to the game, meaning that we can reshoot replays from weeks ago once he gets some of these latest graphical updates in.
Hi, so it's been a week since we last talked and a lot of work has been done, and it's always scary like actually putting it live and getting it up there, but I've basically done that with the Steam page, the screenshots, and a couple of other things. So if you look here, this is the page as it is now. We've got more sort of contemporary screenshots in there. Not just like, you know, a bit of variety in the car colors, bit of variety in the maps and stuff. The one thing I've not done is change the color of the grass. Alex put in a little tool for me to do that. So I might do that just because they are looking a bit green now that I see. I've also added like a bit more flavor text, like it's a bit more relevant. I put in the GIFs like Chris said and said like, you know, here are the features that are in the game right now. And I've done a trailer. It's right here. It plays. And I guess I'll show it to you now. Because like the trailer is the part that like makes me the most intimidated, because like I'm an editor by trade. I should be able to do a really good trailer, knock it out of the park. It needs to be perfect. But I was like, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to like show how the game plays. So I ended up editing this in like 3 hours. And it just shows how the game plays. We had this other concept of doing like all slow-mo shots and like sort of like classical music playing, like of like ridiculous slow-mo shots of boxes and cars crashing and all that sort of stuff. But it was just too slow, and it didn't work on Steam, where you just need to show how the game plays. So this trailer just shows how the game plays and like what the vibe is like when we're playing with our patrons on the playtests on Fridays. So here it is. Here's the trailer. I hope it doesn't suck. Let me know in the comments. Is it the world's best trailer? No. Will it do the job for now? Yes. I'm already in a situation where Alex has added stuff and I want to re-edit the trailer. Yesterday on Twitter he finally added like engine noises that aren't just the one engine noise sound. We still have the one sound of like traction of like tires on the ground, but he added in this like really cool sounding like engine noise. Now I'm like, well, now I want the engine noises in. So I just know that we're gonna end up adding trailers as we go along, and that's fine. We almost have everything done on the page. The last thing I'm waiting for is Dan, who is working away on getting the key art done. Don't really want to rush it. He's done some cool concepts for the logo and he's working on that, so I'm gonna update that. Thanks for following this series. I hope it's enjoyable and entertaining and informative. This whole thing is mostly just to, I don't know, have an excuse to do something fun like this. Like, there's no other way we'd have an excuse to like try and make a game and work with Alex. And I have been having so much fun doing the playtests every week, and the game is like fun. Like it's nowhere near done. We still have to, you know, we have ideas for the single player campaign. We have this crazy idea for like a roguelike racing game. We're kind of like Loop Hero, but you're with every lap you do. Lap Hero, should we call it? We've loads of stuff coming, and the next episode is basically going to be about how we're going to pay for all that. Looking at publishers, looking at early access, trying to figure out ways of bringing in some revenue. Wishlist the game. Wishlist. Even if you're not going to buy it, just wishlist it. It'll help us when we're talking to publishers. Just go wishlist it. Help us out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.